Oregon minus 10 against Washington. That game played here in Las Vegas.
It's crazy, to think that this game was a field goal spread when it was at Washington. And the market said that these two teams were even back then. In fact, probably favored Washington back then.
Well, let's talk about that. Like,
what's changed?
So it was -3 at Washington. Mm-hmm. Let's say we're generous, and we give Washington 3 points for home field.
Yeah, we're saying they're even on a neutral.
How is Oregon minus 10 on a neutral?
Because you want to know what's changed. Well,
the eye test.
Washington has won by an average of just 6 points per game since that game.
Yeah.
While Oregon has won by an average of 25 points per game. Okay? And Oregon has led at half in every game they've played since Washington by 17.6 points. Now, a lot of it's skewed by the Arizona State blowout. They
sure.
42-0. So let's take that game out of it. In the other 5 games, 12.8 points per game at the half. They are dominating teams right now. And that's why Bo Nix has passed Michael Penix for the Heisman odds. So I do like Oregon in this matchup. I gave out a derivative on this game on pregame.com for my college football clients, so you can get that pick on there. But it's as far as the total game is concerned, I do like Oregon. I think they win this football game.
I think Oregon wins the game. I just think 10 points is wild. I think we're making an overreaction to what essentially was a soft chunk, and we talked about this with Oregon, a soft chunk of schedule that they had, and playing Washington State, bad defense. Utah, good defense, no doubt, and that was an impressive showing. Cal,
Washington, they beat Utah by a touchdown at home.
Cal, bad defense. USC, bad defense. Arizona State, bad defense. Oregon State, okay defense. I mean, they put up numbers against some of the worst. And I don't know what this Washington defense is. There's times when I've seen them look good. There's times when I've seen them just look terrible. I wonder if there's something going on with Michael Penix. Like, if you look at the first 6 weeks, and after 6 weeks, after the Oregon game, if I'm not mistaken, he was the Heisman favorite.
Yeah, 100%.
In those first 6 games, including that Oregon game, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, his average QBR, 92.1. In the last 6 games, 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 67.8 QBR.
Well, he is the third favorite right now, but it's not even close.
It's not. Like, he's out of the mix.
He is at 16-1, which is coincidentally where your boy got him before the season started.
Oh, hey, so no. At least you don't have bad CLV. Now, the last 2 games Washington played, they came in the rain. They played Washington State in the rain. They played Oregon State in the rain. Maybe, but
this is almost as painful of a loss for me as when I had Kyle Trask 50-1 to win the Heisman, and through the first 9 games of the year, he was the Heisman favorite, and then completely fell off the table at the end of the year and wasn't even close. And I was like I watched my ticket go, oh, and then I just watched it disintegrate.
Yeah.
And that's
like Thanos snapped at it or something.
And that's what I did with Michael Penix this year, who I got at 16-1 before the season started. He's the favorite all year, and then I watched it slowly. It got snapped away, and I watched it disintegrate.
Yeah. I just think even accepting that Oregon probably should have won the game at Washington, which I do accept, I just can't get all the way to this number. And that's another thing you got to consider. Like, who do you trust, Dan Lanning or Kalen DeBoer? Because to me, it's not even close. Like, you got a guy who's learning how to coach versus a guy who is a damn wizard.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Lanning stays aggressive and will go for it on 4th downs again, or if he's more conservative in this game.
It's funny because at the time, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, and it's real easy to say he cost him there. But at the time, it was like, you knew you were going to need touchdowns to beat that team. Like, Washington was, at the time especially, they were putting up big numbers. And I understood why he did it. I just think if it comes down to it.
I mean, the biggest, you could have taken 3 points at the end of the half, right?
Yep.
And they decide to go for it. They don't get it. So they go into the half down 22-18 instead of 22-21. And then there was the next 4th down when they could have had another field goal to make it 29-21 and give themselves a chance. And then there was another possession where they went for it on a 4th down. So, when they were winning by 33-29, they could have taken 3 points there and made it 36-21. 29, because then Washington scores and they wind up making it 36. There was a lot. There was a lot there.
Well, I'll be curious to see how he coaches differently, but I do think you have to give the coaching edge to Washington. So I think if I were playing this game, I would have to give. I think I'd have to take the 10 points. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move to Saturday. We're going to skip a couple games because you're going to get them at the end in the best bets segment. But let's go to the Mountain West Championship.